Now, Dame Kiri Te Kanawa began her singing career at home in New Zealand. By the late 70s, she was a major international opera star, famously performing at the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Di in 1981. She sang her last opera in Los Angeles in December 2004, but she'd already been stretching her repertoire. She'd recorded an album of Maori songs in 1999, and her latest CD, Songs of Mystery and Enchantment, is the result of a collaboration with the Welsh composer and arranger Karl Jenkins. She sings the Mystics in Welsh.
Sant hoi Wrth gobeithio yn siorno A'n hiraethu am ffydd Wrth I o'r olau Am bethau moi bob dydd
Kiri, how did this collaboration come about?
Well, it was quite unusual. I went to see EMI and they said, oh, in the middle of the meeting, they said something like, well, would you like to do another recording? And I was just taken aback a little bit and said, well, what are you talking about anyway? It happened a little bit like, would you like to do another recording? And they said, well, and I gave them a little idea of what, if there would be a possibility of, and they said, we think we may have the person that you could work with. And immediately I was introduced to Karl, or not too immediate because he was away being very busy, of course. And we had a meeting, and then we got together and he composed a few bars, and I thought, well, that's nice. And then from that point we just kept on working, and from Woe to Go, it was about a year.
There's a huge range of styles on the CD. How did you select the kind of music that you wanted to do together, or was it entirely him?
Well, between the two of us, I brought 4 or 5 songs and said, look, this is what I love. Is there anything interesting then? He said, well, that's 5 songs then. And I said, but I didn't want you to use them. I just thought there was an idea of where I was in some of the music I was doing, especially the South American songs, which are very beautiful. And he loved them. Of course, he's arranged them in his own way with his own rhythms. And it just is quite gorgeous because there's certainly a Karl input along with his own compositions, which are fabulous.
And you sing in a number of languages: Italian, French, Spanish, and Welsh.
Welsh.
How easy was the Welsh?
A little too foolish or daring, I'm not sure. But it was something because the Mystics came in English. Carol, his wife, had written the words. And while they were lovely words, I said, because the song was Mystics, and I thought I wanted it to be a little bit more mysterious. And so I said, well, I said something like, well, what about Welsh? Because I thought it just came off my tongue like that, and immediately there was Welsh produced, and several people giving me the sounds. There was a perfect pronouncer, so to speak, and then someone who would just speak Welsh. So I had 2 variations in a tape, which I did systematically with Karl, and Karl listened, and he had a different sort of sound in his Welsh. And then with other people, I just sat down and listened and listened and listened. I said, well, where's the middle? Where's the sound that is correct? And I hope I got as close as I possibly could, because I didn't want to destroy what I wanted to create by making a wrong Welsh sound.
There was the album of Maori songs in 1999, which I mentioned earlier. Why was that important to you?
Because I felt that we were producing Maori songs, to me, that were not good enough. Some of the sounds was very ordinary, very bad recordings, and I thought, well, if I bring up the standard a little bit, then we will start producing higher standard quality, which is what I wanted to do. Of course, Oceana came out of that, and many, many good albums now. So I felt that I just raised the standard for my own reasons.
But why was it important to you to do that? I mean, you have Maori heritage. One of your adoptive parents was Maori. How important is that in your background?
Important in that it was just that I was Maori, and I wanted to do something that was Maori. Not that I speak Maori, which is a sadness. It was a part of my life that when I grew up, Maori was not allowed to be spoken. Of course, now it's in every speech. There's always a welcome in Maori. There's everything to do with Maori now. It's sort of returned. But, 40 years, 50 years ago, we were not allowed to speak Maori, which is sort of interesting now.
How influential were your adoptive parents in developing your singing talent?
Very. I mean, they were totally influential. My mother said, "You will be a singer," and I thought, well, what's that? And my father just said, "Oh, yes, yes," to whatever my mother said. But I did reach the dreams, I think, and certainly more than I expected for myself, and I think certainly more than my mother expected.